In the world of boxing, where reputations are forged and shattered in the ring, few stories carry the weight of Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach Jr.'s ongoing saga. Their first encounter ended in a controversial majority draw, a result that left fans, analysts, and the fighters themselves grappling with unanswered questions. Now, as the prospect of a rematch looms, the tension between the two lightweights is palpable, amplified by social media spats, public challenges, and the ever-present specter of doubt. This isn't just a fight, it's a collision of pride, skill, and unresolved narratives, with each man carrying something to prove. Adding to the drama, Isaac "Pitbull" Cruz, a former opponent of Davis, lingers in the background, training alongside Tank while quietly plotting his own redemption. The stakes are high, the personalities are explosive, and the boxing world is watching closely to see who will emerge as the definitive force in this heated rivalry. Gervonta Davis is no stranger to the spotlight. With a record of 30 wins, 28 by knockout, he's established himself as one of the most dangerous finishers in boxing. His left hand is a weapon of precision and power, capable of ending fights in an instant. Only 2 fighters have gone the distance with him: German Mraz in Davis's 9th professional fight and Isaac Cruz in 2021. Everyone else has fallen, from seasoned veterans like Leo Santa Cruz to rising stars like Ryan Garcia. His recent knockout of Frank Martin in 2024 was a reminder of why he's considered a generational talent. But the draw against Roach in their first meeting has cast a shadow over his dominance, exposing a vulnerability that many didn't believe existed. For the first time, fans saw Davis look human, even beatable, and that moment has fueled the fire for what could be one of the most compelling rematches in recent memory. Lamont Roach Jr. is not your average contender. He's not just a name on Davis's resume. He's a fighter who grew up in the same gritty boxing ecosystem as Tank, someone who knows him not just as an opponent but as a person. They've crossed paths for years, sharing mutual connections and an understanding of what it takes to survive in this sport. Roach brought that familiarity into their first fight, and it showed. He didn't just stand toe-to-toe with Davis. He controlled the tempo, made him miss, and landed clean shots that disrupted Tank's rhythm. The 9th round was the defining moment, when Davis dropped to a knee in what many believed should have been scored as a knockdown. The referee disagreed, ruling it a slip, and Davis later claimed grease had gotten into his eye. Effect. The explanation didn't sit well with fans or Roach's camp, who felt cheated by the majority draw decision. One judge scored it even, while the other 2 leaned slightly toward Davis. Roach was adamant in interviews afterward, insisting he'd won the fight and promising to prove it even more decisively in a rematch. The controversy didn't end in the ring. Roach took to social media, accusing Davis of stalling the rematch. In a series of fiery posts, he called out Tank for not signing the contract, suggesting he was avoiding the fight out of fear of being embarrassed again. One post read, "Lo, buddy, know damn well I ain't mess around like that. He gassing y'all up just to justify why he ain't do his part of the deal yet. He really might pull out of the fight. Stay tuned." The jab wasn't just a challenge, it was a psychological strike, questioning Davis's commitment and courage. Fans piled on, some accusing Tank of ducking Roach, while others defended his track record of facing tough opponents. Davis, typically outspoken, went uncharacteristically quiet, deleting tweets related to Roach, which only fueled speculation. Was he hesitant? Was the delay a negotiation tactic? Or was something deeper at play? Isaac Cruz, meanwhile, is a wild card in this narrative. Having gone 12 rounds with Davis in a unanimous decision loss in 2021, Cruz knows what it's like to face Tank's power. Now, as part of Davis's training camp for the potential Roach rematch, Cruz is in a unique position. He's not just there to spar, he's studying Tank, observing his adjustments, his conditioning, his mindset. Cruz, who recently won and then lost the WBA super lightweight title, has made no secret of his desire for a second shot at Davis. His presence in camp is less about camaraderie and more about reconnaissance. "This time I break him," Cruz said recently, his words dripping with intent. He's seen Tank's focus sharpen since the draw, noting that Davis looks like he's hunting something down. But Cruz also believes Roach is a legitimate threat, having been surprised by his technical prowess in their first fight. For Cruz, the rematch is a chance to gauge Tank's readiness while preparing for his own future opportunity. The first Davis-Roach fight was a tactical chess match that defied expectations. Roach, known for his technical boxing, stood up to Tank's vaunted power, countering effectively and dictating the pace. The 9th round incident, where Davis dropped to a knee, became the flashpoint of controversy. Replays showed no clear punch landing, but Roach's jab had been landing consistently, and many believed the moment deserved a knockdown call. Davis's claim of grease in his eye only deepened the skepticism. The judges' scorecards, 1 even, 2 slightly favoring Tank, left Roach's team fuming. They argued that as the away fighter, Roach had outperformed expectations, landing clean shots and staggering the champion in enemy territory. The draw felt like a robbery to them, and Roach has since used every platform to demand a rematch, vowing to leave no doubt next time. Roach's confidence isn't just bravado. He's been vocal about his game plan for the rematch: relentless pressure from the opening bell, pinning Davis to the ropes, and throwing constant combinations to disrupt his rhythm. He believes Tank's slick movement and counterpunching will crumble under an aggressive, high-volume attack. "I'm the total package," Roach said in a podcast interview, dismissing Davis's excuses and emphasizing his own belief in being the best. He's leaned into the psychological warfare, mocking the grease incident and suggesting Davis is haunted by the memory of their first fight. At Fanatics Fest in New York, Roach doubled down, advising Tank to lay off the grease so he could feel my jab. The crowd laughed, but Roach's slight grin betrayed the seriousness behind his words. "This fight is personal." Davis, for his part, has been training with a renewed intensity that suggests he's taken the draw as a wake-up call. Insiders describe him as serious again, focusing on footwork, counters, and conditioning rather than relying solely on his knockout power. One trainer noted that the draw woke him up to the reality that he can't coast at this level. Another insider echoed this, saying Tank's fear of losing drives him to elevate his game. But distractions have plagued him in recent years: legal troubles, personal issues, and a sparse fight schedule. Since 2020, he's fought only 6 times, a stark contrast to the activity of his early career. His knockout of Frank Martin was a statement, but the Roach draw remains a blemish he can't ignore. Fans wonder if he's mentally locked in or if the outside noise, as boxing legend Tony Bellew put it, is getting to him. Bellew, a former champion, offered a candid take on the rematch. He believes Davis will figure Roach out in a second fight, praising Tank's exceptional ring IQ. But he also acknowledged Roach's skill, noting that the draw on Davis's home turf spoke volumes about his performance. Bellew's advice to Tank was simple: tune out the distractions and focus on boxing. The mental aspect is critical, especially with Roach's relentless pressure campaign. On social media, Roach has accused Davis of tweeting and deleting to dodge confrontation, even referencing a disputed $250,000 payment from their first fight. Davis fired back, telling Roach to come take it, but his subsequent silence has only amplified the narrative that he's avoiding the rematch. The boxing world is buzzing with speculation. Whispers of an August 16th fight date have surfaced, but with no official announcement, doubts persist. Roach has been the aggressor outside the ring, using interviews and social media to paint Davis as reluctant. He's compared Tank's delays to Ryan Garcia's past withdrawal from a fight, a pointed jab suggesting Davis is looking for an out. The idea of Tank fighting Jake Paul in an exhibition match has also surfaced, a notion Roach dismisses as proof of Davis's unwillingness to face him again. "He'd rather fight a YouTuber than run it back with someone who embarrassed him," Roach quipped, a comment that resonated with fans frustrated by the lack of clarity. Cruz, watching from the sidelines, adds another layer of intrigue. His 12-round battle with Davis was a grueling affair, and though he lost, he proved his durability. Now, training alongside Tank, he's analyzing every move, searching for weaknesses. Cruz's recent loss of the WBA super lightweight title hasn't dimmed his hunger for a rematch. He believes Tank is more focused now, but insists Roach's technical skill makes him a unique challenge. "Lamont surprised me," Cruz admitted. "You don't expect that from a guy who's supposed to just be technical." If Roach upsets Davis, Cruz will be ready to capitalize. If Davis wins, Cruz will be waiting for his shot at redemption. Roach's camp is brimming with confidence. He's trained relentlessly, preparing to overwhelm Davis with pressure and volume. He believes the first fight exposed Tank's vulnerabilities, particularly under constant attack. The grease excuse, in Roach's view, was a sign of weakness, a moment of panic when faced with real adversity. He's promised to leave no room for excuses in the rematch, planning to walk him down and neutralize his counterpunching. Roach's public appearances, like his bold showing at Fanatics Fest, are calculated to keep the pressure on Davis, forcing him to confront the narrative of doubt head-on. Davis's silence speaks volumes. His deleted tweets and lack of engagement contrast sharply with Roach's outspokenness. Yet, his gym work tells a different story. Reports describe a sharper, more disciplined Tank, one who's drilling defense and timing to counter Roach's aggression. The draw taught him a lesson, insiders say, and he's determined not to repeat it. But the mental game is where this fight may be decided. Roach's taunts, the fans' divided opinions, and the lingering controversy of the draw weigh heavily. Bellew's warning about distractions rings true. Davis must block out the noise to reclaim his dominance. The boxing world awaits clarity. Will Davis sign the contract and face Roach again? Will he silence his doubters with a definitive performance? Or will Roach's pressure, both in and out of the ring, prove too much? Cruz looms as a potential next challenger, his own ambitions fueled by the outcome of this rivalry. The drama, the stakes, and the personal animosity make this one of the most anticipated rematches in boxing. Roach wants clarity, Davis wants redemption, and Cruz wants revenge. Until the fight is official, the tension will only grow, unfolding in full view of a sport that thrives on such narratives.